Oshile, and I'm a product designer, of course. I'm glad to be here today, and I hope you guys are glad. Can you guys hear me? Can you please indicate? You could send a chat or something. All right, thanks, Edwina. Okay. Okay, yeah. So today we'll be talking about. I actually like interactive classes. I'd like to hear what, of course, this is probably not the first time some of you will be hearing what we are talking about today. So I'd like to hear, your opinion outside of things. And I think that will help everybody, remember this session even more. So today we are talking about cards, styling cards, tables, graphs, and charts. And we'll also, go into responsive tables, talk about how these things should be done, in the best way possible. Right? So, starting with cards, I think I should share my screen. I have a little, uh, should I say guide I made? Okay, sorry, give me a second. Uh, oh, so I don't know what part of my screen is being shared. Okay, can you see my screen? Give me a second. I think I should try it. Yeah, I'm sorry, my Safari is saying I can't share screen with this browser, so I'm going to try to open the link with my Chrome. Um, this. Okay. Yeah, hello. Can you guys hear me? Sorry about that. I have to switch to my Chrome. Okay. Sorry for the hold up. Yeah. So, can you see my screen? How about now, Abidemi? Can I just make sure you. What's happening? Hey guys, I'm sorry for the hold up. I'm trying to install Cisco. I don't know why my PC is refusing to share my screen. I'm having some permissions issues. I'm really sorry for the hold up. So, Kemi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to get it.
All right.
Yeah. Um, Tolu, I think we can start now. So let me share. Let me
All
share
right.
my screen. Um,
Hi, Ajibola, Abidemi, Adeolu, Atinuke, Bukola, Edwina, Elsie, Ife, Miriam, Olalekan, Tochi, Rama, Oyindamola, Oyewale, Olale. Sorry for the hold up. I'm still waiting. What's up?
hold on. Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, okay. Before the slide comes up, maybe I should just start talking so can turn up the silence. Yeah, so definitely as I was saying, some of you would have heard about cards, cards in UI design and all of that. So on one of the slides I had, I got a definition for a card online, very simple and explanatory. A card is a simple user interface component that provides a summary and an entry point to additional information. Elements of a card component include media object, titles, subheading, metadata, summary text, and action. Right? So a card is now let me get down into more. It's hard to say this without having to point out something. But then, okay, so a card is basically, say, a rectangle, carrying some information. I'm sure you've seen websites like, okay, say like Jumia, for instance, where they have a marketplace where they sell stuff and all of that. So typically you see a product and then you see the price, then you probably see the rating or you see the number of people that have bought it. And then if you look closely, you will find out that it's usually housed within a form of rectangle. And that rectangle is what is called a card. So Jumia is one example. A card is used in almost, every interface that needs a design, basically. You will find a card on news websites. You will find a card on your mobile apps. You will find a card, everywhere, right? So it's very important to be able to design a card the right way, since it's a very, very common, design element, and you need to get it right. So I'm sure that is why the organizers have, listed that out for us to go through. And then we're also going to be talking about tables. So a table basically has a lot of information, for users or people to go through. So basically, you should be able to use a card to carry information, right? But then when it gets way out of hand, like you have so many things you want to handle, you cannot write it out, like sense whatsoever. It's harder to read. So a table helps to handle large information. And where would you find a table? Say, for instance, um, what's up, Kemi? Any luck? Okay. So where would you find a table, for instance? Okay. Awesome. Okay, thank
So
you.
I'm thinking, should I actually present it in a form of prototype so it can actually,
Um, okay, yeah.
or
Okay, so the thing is, I wanted to go from screen to screen. So yeah, you could do that. I think that's good. So you have to link tables, frame 14, and then the next one. So you can just go back and forth as I explain the points. Yeah.
I don't understand though. It seems we will leave it like this. So let's leave it like that.
Okay, okay. All right, guys. So this is an example of a table. Can you please go to frame 14? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is an example of cards, right? So I pulled this out from a landing page I designed for a website. Just it was just a quick prototype, right? So if you see this in this card, you actually have a good amount of information, but then it probably looks simple because it is well put together. So can someone please just like tell me the elements we have here? Does someone want to try? Abisola, do you want to try? Okay, well, just to be quick. So in this card, we have an image, we have a subtext, which is the date, we have the title, we have the body text, and then we have a call to action. That is five, contents that we have in this card, right? So it is very important that you understand how to design a table, sorry, a card, so that you don't confuse your users, and you want to engage them as much as you can. So I'm going to talk you through some of the things you should put in mind while styling a card. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is for you to limit your content, right? So one thing with design is sometimes you probably have a lot of things you want to say, but then the best designs are designs that are simple as they can be. One very important thing is you don't want to confuse your users. That is very, very, in fact, there are so many websites these days. Let's say Nigeria, I can say everybody here is in fact mostly Yoruba. So there are many, for instance, there are many news websites these days. There is Punch, there is Pulse, there is this one, there is Legit. So many of them, right? And users have so much options. If you give them too much, if you make them confused, they are going to leave you for someone else. And that has destroyed the aim of business, right? The whole thing still boils back to business. So it's very important that you keep things simple. And how do you do that? You limit your content, right? So a card is not supposed to show everything that is available. A card is supposed to just preempt you into what is available, right? So take a look at this card, for instance. This shows news basically. On this card, you have an image that shows, that is more images are more descriptive, right? You have the date, you have what happened, and then you have a very short text. Then you have continue reading, right? So you have to keep it simple, like especially for the text, you can keep it simple to like say a text, a sentence or two, right? And then if you notice, this just has basic things: the date, what happened, that's the title, the body text, and then the city. Doesn't have We don't try to choke in two things. The title here is just for one news, right? So the user knows, from other websites or from what they've seen, that if I click on this, I should be able to get access to more information on this particular title that I'm seeing here. I hope we get that, right? So that is about limiting your content. You don't want to choke people. I know say you choke, but don't choke your users, I beg, right? So the next thing is differentiating your actions. That's call to action. Kevin, please, can you go to the next one? All right, thank you. So there are times where you have to design a card to have more than one action. Let's say you want to have two actions, right? In that case, you don't want both cards to look the same. You want them to look different so that people are not confused. Say, for instance, you design a card for, let's say, for checkout. Say someone wants to buy something from a website, and then you have a checkout design, right? And then you put buy here, the same color, and then you still come here, and then you okay, let me use this better. All right. So this is your primary reaction, this is your secondary reaction. You come here, you put buy here, and you write cancel here. Fact is, people don't read most times, right? People scan, people are sensitive to colors, people are sensitive to colors like blue, green, red. So when they see green, naturally they feel green means move on, or green means go ahead with what you want to do. Red generally means cancel. If you look at the interface of this WebEx now, the cancel button at the bottom is red, right? Some people don't even want to see the X. What they just see is red there means cancel. Red on my phone means cancel, right? So you don't want to use the same style. It might not be button, it might be a color text. You don't want two actions to look similar. That will be very confusing. So what you want to do is make sure that your users can tell the difference between the actions that you have. And this is one way to do it. In this case, you have like a button, and here you just have like a link. In this case, you have a button with that is filled, and in this one, you have just a border, right? It's very easy to tell the difference between the two of them without having to read. So the next thing is for you to add visual hierarchy, right? So when people stumble on things, right? When they stumble on, say, an article or whatsoever, they generally tend to see the bolder ones, or they generally tend to see what's bolder or what is brighter, depending on the background. Uh, what has a strong color and all of that. So you want people to see the message you're passing in a glimpse, right? Everybody is moving through website, they are moving as fast as possible. Nobody has time to be decoding what you've written. This life is hard enough than for people to sit down and start saying, what is this? What is this all about? They just want to just breeze through, and it might stop, right? So you want to make sure that there's good hierarchy. You want to make sure that your title stands out, right? You want to make sure that, for instance, in this case, we have a subtitle here. You want to make sure that it's sitting where people can see it. Now, the image is, of course, if there's an image on a card, it's probably the most important thing, because, like they say, an image says 1,000 words, right? People might read this image, see the image, and definitely not read the body text. In fact, and I'm sure this is true for most of you, when you see an article on the website, what you probably just see is the title, Hush Puppy Scam $400,000 from me. And okay, so here's the thing, right? When you are scrolling through, the first thing you see is the picture of Hush Puppy. Next thing you are like, oh, what's happening, right? The next thing you want to see is just something quick, like what's happening to Hush Puppy, and that's the title, right? So you should be able to differentiate that using typography, using color, as the case may be, right? So that's that. Moving on to the next thing. Yeah, so you want to limit borders in your designs. You don't want lines all over the place, you want to keep things simple, right? So that it doesn't become heavy, so that your interface is not heavy, for people to look through. Is easy on the eyes. That's very important. And lastly, you want to limit the links you have on a card. So take for instance, and I've seen this on some website before, where they have the body text and there are links all over the place. This is a link, that is a link, you know, sorry, this is a link, and then you still have a call to action. I mean, it's really confusing, right? The more the choices people have to make, the harder it becomes for them to make a choice, right? And when they don't make a choice, that's bad for business. You want people to click through, you want people to interact with your interface. That's the purpose, not just beautifying the whole place. And that's why your employer is hiring you, or why that contractor, I mean, that person gave you something to do. They want results. Everybody's looking for results. And this is one of the ways you can be productive with your designs, right? So that's that. Okay, so this is an horizontal card, right? So it's very important that you note that these are just to just explain what a card should have. Yeah, a card can be in different form, or for instance, you've probably been on a website where you have subscriptions to do, like they show you, okay, they show you different subscriptions. They show you maybe this is the premier plan, this is the gold platinum plan, and this is this other plan, right? So the important thing is that you understand these factors. Please, can you go back to the first card, or just click on my icon, Kemi? All right. No, the first one, tables.
The first one.
Yeah, tables. You can just click on
Yeah.
my icon. Just click on my icon. Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
No, the next one. Go again. One last one.
Yeah.
You can use the mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Thanks. Yeah, so these are the points. Limit your content. Don't overcrowd the card. You don't need to say a lot for you to pass a message or for your design to be effective. In fact, the lesser you say, the more effective your designs, which is why minimalistic designs are a thing these days. Where you just have a lot of white space, or black space, and then you have text. It makes everything clean. We can see what you're talking about. Number two, differentiate your actions. Don't have too many actions. If you have more than one, make sure that a user can tell the difference. Don't give them hard work. Differentiate by colors, maybe by borders. Third thing, add visual hierarchy to your design. Make sure your title stands out. If you have an image, make sure it is big enough to be seen. It doesn't have to be oversized, but it should be big enough to be seen, because that is the first thing people would look at. Your title should be readable. Your typography, I didn't mention that. So you want to use the right font size. Don't because it's a body text, don't because I said title is important, and then you make your body text 12 pixels, and then people are struggling to read, or it should be readable, right? And then limit the borders. Don't have lines all over the place. Yes, you could have lines, but limit it, right? And then limit the links to two is enough. I mean, three is a lot, but two at most, depending on the purpose. So, how does this work? Do you take questions before I move on, or?
You can ask questions and you can also move on just based on how you want it.
Okay, so if there's any questions, I think it would be good I take it before going to table. If we don't have any questions, I should forge ahead. No questions. All right. Please, let's go to tables. Just click on my icon and you see who I am.
Okay. Can't find you. You're still here. Where are you? You're still
Yeah.
here.
No. Yeah. This is where I want you to be. Thanks. Yeah, tables. So as I said before, tables help to handle large information, right? So if you take a look at the cards we just looked at, cards just have minimal information. Say, like I gave the instance I gave, say like Jumia, your card just has the price, it has the picture, it has maybe the ratings and a few other things at most. But then what happens when you want to say you have, let's say you have a company and you have staff, you want to show people's names, you want to show say maybe how much they earn, you want to show their staff ID, you want to show the last time they were at work, you want to show if they are active or inactive. By the time you put all of that in a card, it becomes difficult. So a table helps you to handle this, and it helps you to handle it in rows and columns. Of course, that's why it's a table, right? Um, so I have some tables here. Can you just scroll uh to the left for them to see? All right.
Where are the tables?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are examples of tables, different tables. There's another one, an admin dashboard. Um, yeah, please let me just go through everything and then I'll come back.
Where?
Okay. Okay, you can just stay here. So this, for instance, can you zoom out so that the table is wide enough? Yeah, exactly. So this is a table of list of customers, right? So this has the customer ID, has the customer name, their address, city, state, and their zip. Well, you might say this will fit into a card, but it's not easy to see. Now, looking at this, you can just look from left to right, and it's really easy to see the information you want, right? So can you go to the next one, please? Next by the side, the
Huh?
admin. Can you go to the admin dashboard? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So this is another table. This looks even, it looks a bit more complex than the first one we had, right? This one has okay, this is a list of users, their name, email, you know, uh, their plan. So this is an app that is from an app that helps people manage their retirement funds, investments, and all of that. So 401k plan is like an investment. Sorry, is like an insurance plan, right? So this shows their insurance plan, the assets they have, the status, their progress, and then the role they have in this investment, right? So if you look at this is a lot of information, right? But it makes a bit more sense because you can spread it out over a table from left to right, right? And that makes it easier to look at. So there's another one, the analytics, and that's just it. So table helps basically to handle a lot of data in a very simplified manner, right? So the first thing I'd like you to take notes while designing tables is your visual, right? So, okay, please, can you go back to the left to the customers? Yeah, this. Okay. So, like I said, tables should be simple in terms of visuals, right? So like I said initially, you're handling a lot of data when you're using tables. And that is enough headache already to be looking at a lot of data. You want the experience to be as simple as possible. You don't want people to start, getting confused. Say for instance, I made this yellow, you know, it's loud and it becomes a bit difficult in terms of readability, right? But then when you keep it simple, it's easier for people to read. And then the colors of your text, is not too loud, is not shouting, is so this is not complete black, so the hex for black is 0000. This is not complete black. It's easy on the eyes. I can easily see this and I have no stress training. How I wish I had bad designs here, you would have seen the difference. But one important thing you should note is keep the visuals simple. You want your typography as well. You don't want to use bold fonts, right? You want to use something that is easy on the eye. Let me use the bold font now. You see what this would look like. Yeah, I mean, just imagine. It's all over the place, right? So you want to use simple fonts, you know, not too black in terms of typography, your text now, right? And your typography, of course, you want to use say medium or depending on the kind of fonts you are using. You want it to be easy on the eyes. And then of course, it's always good to keep the background for your data a neutral color. It's good. You might use other colors that are faint, but then it's good to use a neutral color. So if this was a white, if this was a bright interface like this is now, it's good to use white. If it was dark, just keep it simple. You don't want to distract people from what they want. So most times, one mistake I also made when I was growing up as a designer or learning, don't let me say growing up, not like I'm an old man, yeah, right, is that you just feel everything is about you, but then it's about the user. They don't care how fancy your button looks. That's just the truth. They don't care how, maybe, in fact, sometimes they probably don't care how rounded your borders are. They don't care about so many things, you might put in so much effort to do. The guy, let's say the HR guys, just wants to come into this document. This is showing a list of customers. He just wants to come here and see, okay, I'm looking for social customers. Maybe he comes here and then he says, where is social person? And then he reads it off and he's out. He doesn't care about the colors. He doesn't care about what is, loud. He just wants to get his information out of this and move on. Let's say the data analyst, for instance, still works with this. He just wants to come here. Okay, oh, this customer. Okay, this is their address. Fine. This customer. This is the city they stay in. This is their zip. Simple, right? So for that reason, you need to keep your visual very, very simple. It's not a landing page. There's nothing fancy about it. Just keep it as simple as you can. So next thing is, I even talked about colors already, right? So the next thing is dividers. So basically, yeah, you could say dividers are lines, but for me, I'll just say dividers is what separates one data set from the other, right? So in this design that is here, the dividers is this changing colors, this brown and white and gray, sorry, white, gray and white and gray and white. Why is it good to have dividers? It just helps, it helps people to scan through the table relatively easier than if it wasn't there, right? So look at this table now, it's closely packed, there's a lot to show, right? So if, let's say, if this wasn't here, yeah, the design might still be good, but there's no way to distinguish. So let's say someone is scanning from here. Let's say now this table looks, you might not be able to tell because these numbers are the same. But let's say someone is scanning from here, he wants to look at this ID down to this place. If you don't have a divider, by the time he's looking from here, his eyes is probably going to come here, or his eyes is probably going to come here. Now he might get fired for making a mistake. But then you as the designer, you're part of the problem and you're supposed to be a problem solver, right? So one way to divide is to use these contrasting colors. Another way to divide is to use these lines. Um, okay, can you go to the next to the admin dashboard by the right, Kevin, please?
This is for users. This is analytics.
Yeah,
Which one?
okay, analytics. Yes, exactly. So I'll come back to
Okay.
this. So this is yeah, this is the analytics. So in this case, we just use a simple line, to distinguish each data sets from each other, right? And it looks pretty simple, yeah. So the top here is okay, we are talking about table styling now. So the top here is colored, right? And that makes it different from these other ones. Now, these data sets are divided by lines, like I said earlier, right? And that makes it's as simple as it can be. Now, talking about how complex tables can, this is a lot of numbers all over the place, right? See color red here is indicating losses. I mean, crypto, you know how they say crypto makes people cry. Take out the PO at the end, you have cry. So you don't want to make everything funny, like shout. People just want to come here, see what's happening, and breeze out. You know. So okay, can you go to crypto access? That's to the left. So I'm going to show you an instance where we have a table that doesn't have a divider. All right. So well, for me, and I don't know if Kevin will agree, but I think in a case where you're not using dividers, you probably should have sufficient space so people can tell the difference. There's no mix up. you know it's all about, now bear this in mind, tables are complex. They can be complex, right? So your aim as a designer is to just simplify it, to make it as simple as possible, right? So in this case, there's no divider, but there's sufficient space. I mean, what will make you go down to up without knowing that you've shifted is, I don't know, maybe your mind is not there. But if you can use dividers, like that's like safest things to do. If so, let's say you are making a table for a fintech company, or a company that handles a lot of numbers. They do a lot of numbers. You don't want, and you can't sacrifice fancy for efficiency. You want it to be as efficient as possible. You don't want a situation where someone says, okay, I didn't know that this was. They won't complain to you, definitely, but it's what happens at the back, right? So when your users are happy, well, they might not tell you they're happy, in some case, it just means you're doing well. And even if nobody congratulates you, you'll be happy by yourself. So please, can you go 2 steps backward? Admin dashboard. Okay, yeah. So there is no divider here, of course, obviously, right? But looking at this table, you have you have a lot of information that is being managed here, like a whole lot. Yeah, I think I put this here because I wanted to show the should I is this subscript now? Yeah, the subscript that is here. So you have Amanda Harvey, and then this is their email, you know. So imagine you had to stretch all of this as, let's say you had name, email, you had the plan, and then the trust name. That would be a whole lot, right? So in this case, this is just a way of managing information instead of stretching it out, right? It's just a way of being creatively handling a whole lot of information, right? So I think that was next. Yeah, so the next thing is typography. And also by typography, of course, in some cases, hierarchy comes in, right? Like looking at this now. So this table doesn't have dividers, and you might say, oh, okay, maybe that's not efficient enough, they can't separate enough. But clearly you can see Amanda. You can see Amanda's name. It's bolded out. Yeah, you can, if you don't see her name, you can see her image, right? So there is hierarchy here in terms of typography, right? The name is bolded, and then the plan is also equally important, and then this comes to play, right? So I know I said don't use bold, don't use bold letters when making tables, but this is a different case. Why? Because you you are trying to like you want them to see the users. So this info, of course, all this information here would not be so important if it's not tied to somebody, right? So your typography is very, very important. Make sure your fonts are not tiny. Very important. Make sure they are readable. Yes, you are trying to manage a lot of information. That doesn't mean you should squeeze everything, squeeze so much, and then you'll be like, I don't have enough space. What can I do? Reduce the font, use 8 or use 6. That's bad design, right? So I think one thing I didn't write down is, generally speaking, items on tables are usually left aligned. So what am I talking about? Now, look, if you look at this, plan/trust name is left aligned with this, right? So on tables, text and labels are usually left aligned. It can be middle aligned, but I think the best is for it to be left aligned, as well as dates. And okay, take a look at this too. This is, oops, what did I press? Am I still here? Okay, yeah, I think I still am. All right, so yeah, I was here. So yeah, so this is left aligned with this. So that's something important to tell. Of course, there are times where you can center align with the header, right? But in most cases, I prefer to left align. So also, of course, you learn on the job. I remember when I was doing this. This is for one. Well, they manage funds for people, anyways. So one thing I got to learn doing this job is sometimes for what's it called now, monetary value. Like when you have numbers on a table, it's good to write a line, right? So that works too. It's just for numbers, figures like money. It's good to left align. And I think that's particularly good when it's close to the left side. That works better, just like this long term. Am I on the same? Hello, Kemi?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Can you please go to analytics? It's just beside, um,
Okay.
yeah, to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, so just like this case, where they are left aligned, figures like money, like BTC stuff and the rest, right? So what else? Yeah, bulk action. Please to the left, Kemi. Thank you. Yeah, so
Yeah.
bulk action. Basically, bulk action is, let's say you want to like, maybe you want to delete multiple persons, or you want to like take actions on multiple persons. So one way to handle that is to have a checkbox by the side, just like this, right? So depending on what the table is supposed to perform. For instance, you wouldn't see a checkbox to delete stuff on a transactions table. You wouldn't see that. But still, this is for users, for instance. So you probably could choose users you want to, maybe you want to remove them from the plan, or you want to fire them or something. You want to perform multiple operations. Having a checkbox by the side is one good way to manage that. Okay. Yeah, okay, let me see. Is there anything I'm leaving out? Okay, yeah, so I'm also supposed to talk to you about responsive tables. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna pull some. So I'm guessing I'm supposed to show you guys how to design a responsive table, like step by step guide, right? Okay, Kemi, please, can you follow my cursor? Just click on my icon.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so these these two tables I brought here, they are responsive, right? So yeah, so now this is the thing, right? You might be designing a table, right? And your so I don't do this all the time. That is why I'm giving this instance because sometimes it can be more work, right? Okay, so you are designing a table, and of course, users use they don't just people don't only use desktop. People use tabs. People use different size of laptops. For instance, my screen is I think 14 inches. I have a desktop that is 28 inches. Someone of you probably has a tab that is about say 10 inches and stuff, right? And people access the internet from all these devices, right? So what do you do when you know you have these various screen sizes, when you want to design for these various screen sizes? So what you do is what we call responsive design. Responsive design is a design that adapts to different screen sizes, right? So this here is a responsive table. How do I know it's responsive? If I stretch, so this is a small table, right? Let's say I have a bigger screen. If I stretch it out, it still works. Let's say I'm looking at this on a very massive screen, it still makes sense. What if I'm using a very small screen, like a tab? One of all these iPhone tabs are really small for a tab, but it still makes sense, right? So that is what a responsive table is. So of course, there are different ways to make it. One good way to do it is to use components and auto layout on Figma. So I think I should just show how to make a simple table. Can I do that, Kemi?
Yes, please. Yeah, sure. Sure.
Okay. So but how come I'm not hearing anybody's voice? If I want to hear somebody's voice, aside Kemi, can I do that? Can someone else just say something?
We are here, we are listening.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. So this is one way I go about it, right? Using components. So I'm going to try and make a table like this. So of course, this is also responsive, right? Stretching, all of that. That's what a responsive table is. Okay. So so I'm going to start. Let's say that's just a random. Of course, that'll be the first thing, but it's just a random text. Let me see. Chemical box. So what I did first is I wrote out a text, and then I'm going to use auto layout Shift A. I believe. So do we have we heard of auto layout? By the way, before I go into this, I'm assuming you guys have. Do you know what
Yes,
auto
we have.
layout is? Oh, okay, fantastic. And components as well. Figma components. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so what I just did now is I wrote a text, date, and then I put it inside. I auto laid it out.
Please, we can't see your screen.
Press your screen.
Oh, okay. Kemi, please, are you there?
Yes, I am. Oh, you guys can see
Yeah.
the screen again.
Yeah, they can't see what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Let me locate you. Sorry.
Just
Sorry,
click
guys.
on my icon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, give me a second. Um, okay. Sorry, I want to see Kemi's screen so that I know when I'm off.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, let me continue. Okay, but we can see this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So what I did, I think I'll start again. Basically, I just wrote date. This is just a text. And then auto layout. I auto laid it out, right? So let's say if I want to make adjustment on the padding of this, I can come here. Okay, we know about I forgot you're not seeing my screen. So basically I'm just adjusting the padding 16 pixels, 16 pixels by the side and then 12 by the top. So after I've done that, I'm going to make this a component. So this is a component right here, right? So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this text. The text is inside this box and I auto laid it out like I said earlier. So I'm going to come to this to the left tab on the design, to the right tab, sorry, on where you have design, and I'm going to change where we have resizing. I'm going to change it from hug content to fill container vertically and horizontally, right? I hope you get that. So next thing I'm going to do, basically when I do this, I like to keep my master component out of the game, so it doesn't get in the dirt. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to auto lay it out and I can adjust the spacing in between it. I'm going to make it 0, right? It's 0 now. Okay, let me put a color to it so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Yeah, simple. So let me change what I have here. Let's say date amount. Let's say we are working on let's say transaction history. I'm going to have say date, maybe amount. Oops. Oh, I wish you could see what I'm doing. So I know so doing this can be a bit tricky because of all the restraints that comes with auto layout and all of that. So what just happened now is I was writing this and then the box didn't expand. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to go to resizing on the right panel, the design panel, and I'm going to click on hub contents. That's what I just did, right? So the best way to do that is actually to come to your main component and then make the change so that it goes all through your instance. So let's say the next one is transaction. So as you can see, is moving as well, transaction ID. Let's say the next one is description. Description. So can someone else tell me what I should have here? Maybe from your experience using your bank app or something. Anybody? Okay, let me just write charges since nobody wants to say something. Okay, so I've done this, right? The next thing I want to do, so the thing with using auto layout to create responsive design is you want to be able to adjust the frame and every element in the frame is also expanding just like this, right? I'm adjusting this entire frame, right? So this was a bit tricky for me, right? I had to, when I was learning for the first time, it was just, I was like, what was this? What was all this stress? So you need to, very careful, right? So it's simple, but you can make a mistake, right? So that said, this is a frame. I'm going to put it inside another frame, right? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make this entire frame I'm clicking on, I'm going to come to resizing, and I'm going to choose fill container instead of hog container, right? And then for each of them as well, I'm going to make them fill container. Sorry. I think I should do that singly. It was right. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this guy. Man, okay. So I want to duplicate this guy. So please, if you have any questions, let me know because I know this can be very funny. I'm actually making some changes. I don't know if you guys are seeing, but if you have any questions, please let me know. So I'm going to duplicate this, and then we have a table. So I can go ahead and manipulate the spacing in between it. So let's keep this to 0. So if I want the background for this, I could say use white, and I can adjust the padding, and all of that, right? So let me make this more realistic. So let's say the date is 01. Sorry, that's not supposed to move. Let me make it fixed. I'm going to make them fixed. Auto layout. Sorry, let me just duplicate this in here. Stop moving. Okay, let me adjust it like this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Say 2010. Well, this is going to take a lot of time. Maybe what I could do is maybe make a short video, like work quickly, and because I'm kind of tense, I'm making some mistakes I shouldn't be making. But anyways, point is, this is what a responsive table looks like. And by responsive, it means it can expand left, right, and even down and up too. Right? So yeah, the next thing I want to talk about, or we have to talk about, is charts and graphs. I don't have that here. I'm going to share a link with Kemi. So I saw a Figma file that is going to really waken this up, and I'm going to share that now. By the way, do we have any questions so far? Anybody? No questions? Right? Yes, second. Says,
Are we done? Can I stop sharing?
no, yeah. You can stop sharing that. I'm going to send you a link now.
Okay. Uh, all right, guys. Do we understand what tutor have been teaching since? I want us to talk. I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys understand? Please speak. You're not muted. Hello.
Come again, please.
You say what?
Come again, please. I can't hear you.
Okay, I said, do we understand what the tutor has been teaching since? Like, do we understand the table, everything he has been saying? I just want to make sure we understood all what he has been saying.
Okay. Yes, we've been grasping, but we still have to practice. So because some things is saying now until we do it ourselves, because before we can know if we really
Yeah,
understand.
exactly. I thought about that too. Okay, but aside that, do you have any question?
No question for now.
Okay, that's for you. What about other people? So no one has any questions?
No question.
Okay.
I'm perfect.
Would you like me to come over anything? Is there anything anyone would like me to? Please don't be shy. I want to hear three persons' voice. Maybe say no or yes, and then we'll probably forget.
For me, I think I get it.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. I don't know if you're in Nigeria now. I think I get it, but I might still need to watch, like practice a few more times to fully understand it.
Yeah,
So theoretically, I think I get it, but I still need a bit of practice. Thank you.
fantastic. Sorry, what's the name? I didn't. They don't show the name.
My name is Rahma.
Okay. Okay, Rama. All right, Rama. Thanks. Anyone else? Two more person. Ajibola Abdul Basit. Don't you want to say something?
I just finished saying something now.
Oh, I didn't see the name. See.
Okay.
Thank you. What about Modi, Benjamin Modi? Benjamin Modi. Okay, well, apparently, I think everybody wants to practice what they. Okay, well, since we get it, can someone tell me what they've gained so far? Like, I'd like to know. Maybe I could also learn back. You know, anybody, Ajibola.
Um, honestly, the layout, um, I got what you were saying, but I can't really, since I can't
Okay,
guarantee
so
that.
what can you tell me about making a good card?
Um, I remember making use of the white space and not focusing too much on the aesthetic. I remember those, and
Okay.
we use a clear fonts. So I
Okay.
remember all those.
Nice one. So who else wants to give it a shot? Edwina, Elsie. Okay. Someone is up. Tochi, Victor, Ife, Miriam, Chidima. Who else wants to give it a try? Ah, nobody wants to give it a try, K.
Is it for when we're styling cards?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just supposed to limit the content and the body text. We also should make sure that it's readable, and we also we need to add, or it's important to add visual hierarchy to differentiate the title from the body text, and using the right font text and font size and font weight to do that. And also, you made mention about differentiating actions, like how people basically use red for stop actions or warning signs and all of that. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Nice. Okay. So about tables, can someone tell me what they learned about tables? What have you learned about tables? Designing a good table. Anybody, you can just unmute and say what you have to say.
Okay, let me try.
Thank
Hello.
you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so when designing tables, I think it's a bit easier and a little bit tricky, but easier to use auto layouts. And then you should also like divide them with maybe colors or lines to enable the users to have a good experience, so that they will not like make a mistake when using the table. So you just have to like put some thoughts into it when designing how you're going to present it, but at the same time, so you can either use a divider like a line or colors or colors of text or colors of the background to design it. Then you can use those add check boxes like for when it make easier to maybe delete, depending on the kind of table designing, to make it easier for the user to delete items, or I think that's it.
Yeah, fantastic. Awesome. Thanks, LC. Please, how do you pronounce your name? LCC.
Yes,
Okay, thanks, LCC.
but else is okay. Else is okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Who else wants to try? Wants to tell us what they learned? Tables. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Ife.
Yes, in addition to what they have said, you said text are best left aligned on tables.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes. Okay. Thanks for that. It's good you remember that. So Miriam Yusuf, you don't want to say anything. Juwon Oyindamola Jimo. Bukola.
Good afternoon. I wanted to ask a
Okay.
question.
Okay, fantastic.
What do you mean by different actions and add visual hierarchy? Yes, I don't understand those two parts properly.
Okay, that would be for cards, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Kemi, are you there?
Yeah, I mean, what did you say?
Okay, please, could you go to frame 15 where we have the cards on the design?
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hmm. Uh,
This web
frame
something
15.
interesting.
Frame 15.
Yeah, the cards where we have the cards. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, please, can you just zoom in?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're there.
Okay, so your question again was the act. Can you please come again? Just recap, please.
Different actions and visual hierarchy. Yes.
Okay, different actions and visual hierarchy. Okay,
Yes.
I think I should probably get a picture of a real inst. Do I have any? Yeah. Let me see. 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 Give me a second. I'd like to show you something that you can relate with. Um. Well, okay. Well, I can't find something now, but let me just use the examples I used before, right? So, have you tried to like maybe subscribe maybe your Netflix or maybe you try to pay for something on your website and then you have continue and then you have cancel. Have you seen something like that before?
Yes.
Okay, so in that situation, what the design does, it presents you two options to either maybe say you want to buy something to either continue with your purchase or to go back to cart. Okay, yeah, that's a good example. So uh say maybe this is, let me remove the auto layout from this. Say maybe this is buy and maybe this is, and I think I've seen something like this on Jumia. Continue shopping. Right? So of course, it's not every case that you see a card that has more than one action, right? So the point is, if you have more than one action, there should be a difference. That is what that is all about. Like the first, Kemi, can you please go to the left? Let me just clarify that. So in this case, there's just one action, and the action is for you to continue reading this article. In this case, right? Can you please go back, Kemi? So this is just a sample for when you have more than one action. So let's say let's say this wine is for sale now. This is just a bit of description about the expensive wine, and then maybe you can okay, say after you added this to cart, then you have the option of maybe buying it now or you want to continue shopping, and then maybe this redirects you back. You want to have a clear difference between both buttons. You don't want this button to look like this button, right? They just look the same. Sure, you get. You want to differentiate between both buttons so that your users are not confused. Yes, we know that the text you wrote there are not the same, but you also need to visually indicate that. Like I don't know if it was Elsie, but or I'm poor with names. Sorry. Yeah, but someone mentioned the fact that I said you in some designs that you've seen online, you probably have green to indicate you want to buy or you want to continue or you want to sell or you want to do whatsoever it is. Niger bet, you probably want to place a bet. While red color indicates that you want to maybe cancel whatsoever. So the way the human mind works is when they see certain things. Okay, looking at this now, this has more hierarchy visually than this because it is colored, it is bold. So I also want people, as a designer, I want people to buy, right? So this has to be different from this action. I can see this clearly that this is a buy. There's no mistaking between buy and continue shopping. But by the time you make this the same color as this, it becomes confusing, except for people that are patient enough to read, right? So you want to ensure that you separate you, there's a clear difference when you have more than one action. And you asked another question. Are you clear on that, by the way? The answer I gave, is it
Yes.
clear? Okay. So what was the other question?
The visual hierarchy.
Okay. Yeah, talking about visual hierarchy, right? So visual hierarchy is just placing certain design elements to be more visible than the other, right? So in this case now, looking at this, the image you have here is big compared to the buttons you have. This image is big compared to the title. Now, this title is big compared to the subtitle. Sorry, to the body text. This title is bigger compared to the subtitle, right? So, generally, when designing, you want to have hierarchy for several reasons. Number one, you want to direct people's attention to certain things. If you've seen a newspaper recently, or whenever, you'd see that, okay, they call it the front line of the newspaper. Have you seen the front line of the newspaper? The other important things on newspaper, but what people see first is the headline. Buhari is shocked that people have not been paid salary. Buhari is shocked, that gets your attention. That's the first thing you see, which is the title, right? So the next thing you probably want to do is to drill down, right? But it will look funny if your body text is the same as this. I mean, so when someone hits this now, okay, he sees the picture, it confuses this text. He doesn't know which one the title is. He doesn't know what is what. And then let's say your button too is really big. Everything is just big. There is no visual differentiation. The image is big, the type, everything, you want to, this is, that's poor design. So you want to make sure that there is a difference and there is a visual difference, there is visual clarity when you are designing a card or even anything for that matter. So, do you understand?
Noted, boss.
Okay. But you understand, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So, any other questions? Okay. I believe there are no other questions. Kemi, do you have anything to say?
Okay, yeah. So guys, as we all know, the class will be uploaded, the video will be uploaded on the YouTube channel. So I know you guys still need time. I understand you still need time to watch the video, rewatch, practice to understand perfectly what the class today is all about. And that's fine. I mean, that is why we have the YouTube channel. So everybody can go there, rewatch, watch, rewatch, because tutorials are actually something you have to keep watching, right? So it's actually fine. I don't have any other thing to say that the video will be uploaded later today or tomorrow morning by the grace of God. So, and once it's done, I will share the link in the Slack workspace. Yeah.
All right. It was nice meeting you guys. Um, thank you for attending, and see you some other time. Enjoy your evening.
All right, Tolu, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time. And thank you guys as well for being present. Today is Sunday. This is our first Sunday class. We are really sorry about the inconvenience and the delay at the start of the session. All right, thank you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.